Hello, I'm PWOP, the content curator today, and I have some more meaningful content curated today for a pretty robust experience. I'll be doing more so annotation style commentary today, less of my audio style commentary on account of my voice. But as a reminder, this is part 2 of the Ballad of Dogma 2 on DSP Gaming's channel. Part 1 is the setup for all the context up to this point, so him talking about the announcement for it, some of the hype and the build up for it, the announcement of the release date, March 22nd. So some meaningful clips in there as well that are a good time. So I suggest that you check that out and dive down the Snortex that way. But today we're going to start off. The first clip here is going to be a suggestion from a viewer talking about all the games coming out on March 22nd, which is, just to recap, the Princess Peach game, Rise of the Ronin, and
No, Tubs, I'm probably going to skip the Peach game that's also coming out that day for a couple reasons. Number one, Nintendo first-party games just don't do well on this channel anymore. I don't know why. You know, I love Mario. I love Zelda. I love the first-party stuff, but it just doesn't do that well. So if I do play those games, I usually play them as something to balance with something else. But if you've already got Rise of the Ronin and Dragon's Dogma 2 out at that time, I can tell you, everyone's going to want those two games, and everyone's going to complain if I take the time to play Princess Peach, so I'm probably just going to end up skipping it. I'm glad you enjoyed the Super Bowl Sims, Derek. I never played Kingdoms of Amalur. I don't know anything about it. Out of the big releases in March, which ones would I want to play the most? There's Alone in the Dark, Rise of the Ronin, Dragon's Dogma 2. I mean, I already said Rise of the Ronin, Dragon's Dogma 2. Alone in the Dark, I mean, obviously it's a horror suspense game with a good cast, but no one knows if it's going to be any good. And if you don't know if it's going to be any good, you know, I'm interested in it, but I want more information on it. So
I'm going to try to track on screen when he says he's going to play a game, when he says he's going to skip it, and how that all shakes down. Because, spoiler, it's going to change a lot. But I paused the clip very quickly there just to... Oh, there's a bunch of little bonus clips included in here, kind of like how you saw last with Derek, thanks for enjoying watching me watch a game of Madden. I'm glad you enjoyed that. And this is going to be a little plug for Gunner Glasses, so enjoy.
these are Gunner glasses, yes. And people are asking, how are the Gunner glasses? Do they actually work? They do. The Gunner glasses actually have made my eyes burn less. When I was playing for several years and I wasn't using these glasses, I would say, oh, my eyes are burning. My eyes don't really burn that much anymore as long as I'm wearing these. I think it's a combination of factors. Number one, having something in front of your eyes blocks airflow. And right now I have a fan on. And if the fan was just blowing on my eyes, it would dry them out. But having these glasses on kind of prevents that. So that's a good thing. That's number one. Number two, yeah, they block blue light because they're yellow tint. They block blue light. And yes, do I notice that games look slightly off color? Yes, I do. But you get used to it. And once you get used to it, it's not a big deal. And I do feel like they help with eye strain. Now, are they worth a ton of money? Probably not. And I've seen that some of Gunner glasses go for hundreds of dollars. No, they're not worth that. But if you get one on the cheap, yeah, they do a good job, I feel. You know, people want to hang out and have a good time with a new game. They don't want to hear people say, I don't want this. Could you play Baldur's Gate 3? Could you play another game? Could you play Helldivers? Who's playing Helldivers? Never was that ever in my radar, nor is it a game that I'm going to play. I'm not interested in it. I'm not considering it. You sitting here saying play another game like Helldivers, you're an idiot. You're really wasting your own time and everyone's time. You stop and move on and go watch someone else play Helldivers, right? We're here to have a good time with the game that I'm playing, and it's a good game. So let's stop with the nonsense, right? So, FYI, I noticed that yesterday, and it was bringing down the vibe of the stream a bit, okay? And there were some other idiots who basically were doing something like this. Oh, you know, Phil's fan was so nice to buy him that wig. I wish he would just toss it on right now. I wish that he would do it for a lower amount. I wish that he would do this or that, you know? And it's like, the whole idea of putting on a hat or a wig or something, it's always been part of my streams for how many years now? Since 2020. 4 years, all right? You know how it works. You know that there's tiers. You know that there's things it's involved. It's a silly thing for incentive for people to support a stream, for me to do something silly like this, right? And by the way, YouTube loves picking a thumbnail of me holding this. Both videos yesterday that I put out with me holding the wig, this became the thumbnail. So it's probably going to do it again, okay? But anyway, like, this is nothing new. skipped Persona 3. I skipped Grand Blue Fantasy. It's ridiculous. All right? Now, you're an ultra fan of RPGs. That's one thing, but I'm a variety streamer. People like coming by DSP Gaming to see what Phil's up to today. Is he playing an RPG, or is he playing an action game, or is he playing a fighting game, or is he in a variety of people to these streams? I say we because I feel like it's us together. It's not the royal we, it's us together. It's a community effort, right? It really is. It's not just me doing this. It's me and all of you guys hanging out, having a good time together. There's more coming. I know. And I'm going to be honest. Right now, as a result of this whole feeling of like RPG burnout, because there's just too many RPGs at once, I'm strongly considering skipping Dragon's Dogma 2. And I know that's sad because I like Dragon's Dogma 1. I was a champion for the game when a lot of people actually didn't like it as much. I thought Dragon's Dogma 1 was amazing. I played the crap out of it. And, you know, Dragon's Dogma 2 is right around the corner in 3 weeks. And now I'm like, maybe I shouldn't play it. Or maybe we should save it for later at a time when finally RPGs have calmed down. How am I going to be playing 4 RPGs at once, man? It's too much. And again, it's the industry has to start looking at itself instead of only living in like a tunnel, because that's what I feel like all these games are doing. These game developers are making a game and they live in a tunnel where they think their game is the only game being made, and it's not. You know, how many games these game developers just convinced themselves they were making the absolute best game out there and it was going to sell no matter what, and then they come out and it's like RPG, 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 RPG. What the hell? There's too many. They're too long, too many, too similar, right? How many can you stand? I like it. And I just want to say, even though I am fully enjoying all the RPGs that I'm playing, what we're seeing distinctly this week is evidence that too many RPGs in too short of amount of time is too much. I knew this would happen. Okay? I just knew it. I told you guys months ago. I foresaw between January, February, and March that there was going to be way too much RPG gameplay, and that was all that was coming out. And I was concerned about that, you know? I don't know why game developers don't look into it and say, wow, maybe we shouldn't all, release our similar genre of game back to back. It's kind of counterproductive to do that, but they did it anyway. And, I mean, this is even with me skipping Persona 3 Reload, as well as that Grand Blue RPG, and kind of only picking and choosing the ones that I like more. It's still too much. And definitely it's represented now, because after my podcast ends, attendance just dips on no matter what RPG I'm playing. Doesn't matter if it's Final Fantasy VII, Baldur's Gate 3, Like a Dragon. RPGs just aren't cutting it when it's all you're playing. The only other game I have in the mix right now is Tekken 8. And although I get a decent crowd for that, it's definitely not the crowd that I have for Street Fighter 6. So I'm happy that in a couple of weeks we've got new games. You know, we're going to have the Star Wars Battlefront collection, which should be amazing because that game is so good. Battlefront 1 and 2 are both so good, and they're going to be really fun to play online. Rise of the Ronin, which definitely looks like a completely different style of game. But, you know, on the podcast, as I've been talking about last day or two, I really strongly think at this point, we've got to skip Dragon's Dogma 2 for now. Like, I'll probably maybe play it later. How on earth am I going to be playing like 4 RPGs at once? It doesn't work. There needs to be more variety of games coming out, and outside of an indie game here or there really isn't anything else of note coming out. So I'm kind of stuck with what's out right now, you know? So, based on everything going on, all right, I did make the definitive decision that I will be playing Baldur's Gate 3 more this week. Allow me to explain how today went. Allow me to tell you the schedule for the next couple of days so you know what's going on. Us having this fun discussion, us talking about current events and game news, us going back and forth and just being social with each other is ending up being more popular these days than my gameplay. Now, I'm not saying that's not going to change because we've got big games coming up. I mean, Rise of the Ronin probably is going to do pretty good. And then over the next few months, there's some big ones coming up that I think people will enjoy. It's going to bring back the attention to the channel because this is stagnated. Like, my views are down. My attention is down on the channel because I'm playing 3 fucking RPGs, and you cannot maintain a YouTube presence playing 3 RPGs unless you're already giant. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not. So I know the gameplay is going to bounce back. Okay, but the point I'm making here is the future is diversification. The future is going in different directions. No, I'm not giving up on gaming, but I need to start thinking outside the box and doing other things than just gaming every day, because it's not going to always work that well. You know what I'm saying? Progress. And to be frank with everyone, because we talked about this recently on the podcast, okay, I'm going to make big pushes to progress and finish in both Baldur's Gate and Like a Dragon. Reason being, Baldur's Gate is my most long-running playthrough, 120 hours, well, just about 120 hours, and running over 3 months at this point, okay? And Like a Dragon now, I mean, it's about a month and a half, and we're around 45 hours of progress in that one right now. And I feel like if I really push for progress in these games and I play them a lot in the next couple of weeks, we could basically finish one or both by the end of March. And if that's the case, that's exceptionally good, because then everything will be refreshed and new. It won't be the same lingering games going on and on. We could have one major RPG with Final Fantasy VII at that point, but then we can balance it with other types of games that people want. And I think hopefully that will bring some more reinvigoration to the channel, because honestly, recently, yeah, the channel's been pretty stagnant because it's just the same 3 RPGs over and over, and they're not going anywhere. And it seems like they're never ending, right? So I really need to focus on that. And I am. I'm not saying I'm not going to do any side content or whatever, but I think I am going to majorly try to focus on finishing important quests and story and stuff like that. And then, well, yeah, that just feels like that's the situation we're in right now. Is that no one cares about Final Fantasy. We're endlessly stuck in these other playthroughs, and, you know, we need to make a change. So what I need, FYI, is feedback of what we're playing on Friday of next week. And no matter what it is, we're going to do a premiere day of it, and then after that, it's going on hiatus until we finish these games. We must finish Baldur's Gate 3, and we absolutely must finish Like a Dragon. And we're going to work on it hardcore for the next 1 to 2 weeks until the games are done, and then we're going to come back and focus more on whatever other game we chose to play. Okay? Now, the thing is, this Battlefront collection is also a big question mark, because it was going to be a part of the rotation, but sadly, I don't even know if it works, right? Why? Because there's too many fucking RPGs. You're not going to continuously have hits if they're all the same genre of game. It just can't happen. You can't release 20 summer blockbuster action movies back to back. You can't release 7 fighting games back to back, and you can't release 10 RPGs back to back. It doesn't work. But for some reason, they idiotically didn't look at the climate and anything around them. Instead, they just focused on making their games and just pumping them all out at the same time. It makes no sense. So now they're all cannibalizing each other, and we're seeing this in the industry. Is you see people talk about an RPG for 3 days, and then it's like the game doesn't exist. What happened? Right? Like, no exaggeration, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, no one's talking about it anymore. And it just came out 2 weeks ago. You would have thought this would have been the game that it has legs that everyone's talking about nonstop. No, it's done. It's as if the game never came out. It was hyped for a few days, and then everyone just ran to the next thing that pumped out. Now everyone's talking about their hype for Dragon's Dogma 2 because the character creator came out for that, right? And now the controversy is about it. This is what I mean. Like, there's no more focus on one game anymore. It's all for one day we talk about it and then we move on. You want to know why? I'm telling you right now, the fucking streamers. Because this is how they've become. They've become, talk about a game for one day just to get a boost in views and then move on to the next and then move on to the next. It's like, dude, that is so harmful to the industry. It really is. And I don't understand why no one gets this. That having this fucking ADD bouncing all over the place. Oh, this today, this today, this today, this today, this today. Nothing ever fucking gets done. Right? A lot happened today. Let's talk about what happened today, because if you weren't around today, you probably are way behind on all kinds of stuff that is happening here on the channel. First of all, on today's Level 1 podcast, I made a big announcement. I am now going to be focusing pretty much solely on trying to beat Baldur's Gate 3 and Like a Dragon Infinite Well as my focus here on this channel, so that once those games are completed, we can then focus on other games. They are too lengthy, they're taking too long, and they're driving me nuts. I'm not saying they're bad games. I actually like them both. But the fact that these are lingering playthroughs, and I keep trying to, get into other games or whatever, and then I get pulled in a million directions and I can't really focus. I'm done with it. Like, I'm putting my foot down and saying, that's enough. No more. Oh, are you going to play this game? You're going to play that game, play this game, play that game. And then I never finish the games I'm playing. So that was the huge announcement. In addition, new co-op game announced for between myself and Kat, and we will be starting that up in the next few weeks once time allows, from following up on finishing these 2 particular RPGs. The other announcement is that I'm strongly considering playing Dragon's Dogma 2 next Friday instead of Rise of the Ronin like I originally had. The general consensus seems to be that most of my viewers want to see me do Dragon's Dogma 2 over Rise of the Ronin. So what I need is your feedback. Please check out the podcast from earlier today. It's a lot of talk about different things, and I really need your help and opinions. But for the most part, expect a lot of schedule changing to be Baldur's Gate 3 and Like a Dragon in the next 2 weeks, because I need to try to finish the games. Okay? Then we moved on. So I've put a lot of thought into this. I've listened to your feedback, and based on my thoughts and your feedback, I've made a decision. And I made a decision that I'm going to announce right now. So if you're ready for the decision, listen up. And if you're not ready for the decision, then what I need you to do is take your fingers and stick them into your ears like this and go for about 5 minutes when I explain my decision, okay? Oh, wait, you wanted my decision now? You wanted to hear it? Oh, okay. So my decision is that I'm going to, this Friday, I'm going to begin playing Pal World full time. I've decided to drop all my current playthroughs and only play Pal World. I think now is the exact right time to do it while it's still hot. No, I just think it's funny that, like, a lot of these games now, what you see is they get momentary popularity, and then within a few weeks, they're just not popular anymore. Like, no one's talking about Pal World. It's as if the game never existed. But remember, it was the hottest game, the biggest selling game for some time there, right? So it was pretty crazy in that regard. That it was humongous, and then no one talks about it. But a lot of games seem to be like this these days. Anyway, no, we've thought about it together. Like, you gave me your feedback this week, I thought about it, and I decided that starting this Friday, the new game that I will start playing is Dragon's Dogma 2. And there's a few reasons for this. Reason number one, it's the game that I'm most interested in and already wanted to play before this whole idea of RPG overload affected the channel, okay? It's just the game that I'm more interested in, that I think is going to be the better option. I think it's going to have more eyes on it. More people will be interested in that right now. So that's number one. Number two, you guys gave me feedback this week, and literally about 80% of the people who did respond said play Dragon's Dogma 2. There are still some people who want to see Rise of the Ronin, but for the most part, people are like, yeah, I think Dragon's Dogma is going to be the bigger game. I'm more interested in that. And the thing is, being that it's going to be an RPG where you make your own pawn team and you can play it a little bit differently than others, I think that playthrough will be more interesting to watch as opposed to Rise of the Ronin.
And so that was the conclusion of the story. That brings us right up to the release date. On March 22nd, he ends up starting Dragon's Dogma 2 and playing that all day during the day for the stream. And then Rise of the Ronin has, at this point, April 3rd, at this point, not seen his stream at all. Alone in the Dark, he's almost beat that, even though that didn't get mentioned for the rest of the video, and Rise of the Ronin got mentioned like a dozen times. And Dragon's Dogma went from definitely to absolutely not, to considered skipping, to considered playing, to definitely playing. And as of the status of the co-op with Kat, it's going to be, quote, beyond 2 souls. So she'll be playing as the little helper ghost, which is totally belittling, and that's kind of rude as hell. But she'll be his little ghost helper, sometimes getting to participate in the game that she's wanted to play because he's played it before, but he thinks it'd be interesting to see his decisions again. So they're looking for a time when they're going to do that together. But otherwise, that would be the end of it. I appreciate you enjoying and watching along for the Ballad of Dragon's Dogma 2. Since you got this far, I included a little bonus clip, and this is the first mention of the idea of a Dragon's Dogma 2, a bonus clip from the Connecticut condo. So thank you for watching, and enjoy the bonus clip.
I'll play some more Dragon's Dogma at one point, and I'll be trying out sorcery at one point, okay? The other thing I want to let everyone know, now if you follow me on Facebook, you already know this. Dragon's Dogma is a game, it's an action-based role-playing game where you can grind. What I'm doing right now is at night, and I did this last night, and I'm planning on doing this tonight and maybe some more days coming up. While I'm relaxing here on the couch, maybe having a drink or two, just chilling out, I'm going to do some grinding in Dragon's Dogma. But here's the thing. You don't want to see every second of me grinding in this game. You don't want to see me running through just killing repetitive enemies. Now, last night was pretty cool because what I did is I without going into any dungeons and without doing any quests,